3, 2, 1, let's go! Woo! You may be asking yourself, self, why is Rob jumping off a cliff? They say that for growth, you should try something every day that scares you. If you're fortunate enough to have ADHD and anxiety, just waking up in the morning fills that requirement. So how do we turn this into growth? There are some strategies for navigating this on the daily. What are they? Observation, awareness, and consistency are the foundation for facing and overcoming fear. Many of us with ADHD are very observant of our surroundings. We have often been lectured, shushed, and straight up punished for just trying to do our neurodivergent best. This environmental factor leads to the development of strong outwardly focused observation patterns. We tend to scan our environment for threats more than those without ADHD while ignoring ourselves. It all changed for me when I turned the ADHD observation superpower inward. Now I focus the beam on myself and evaluate not just what I do, but why I do it. This unlocks the next step, awareness. The real key is awareness, and radical honesty with oneself is what forges that key. You don't need a prescription for this, and it is universally available. Honestly evaluate why you are thinking and behaving the way that you do. This takes practice. Be patient and hold space for compassion directed toward yourself during the learning process. The results may surprise you in a way that is empowering. Consistently and honestly evaluate yourself through a lens of care and compassion. This has changed my perspective entirely. I'm grateful for my ADHD. It's my best asset. So much of training is focused on improving weaknesses. My experience has been that finely tuning one's strengths yields more sustainable and impressive results. I've become aware that I am harboring one private fear that I have not learned to overcome yet. This fear was developed as a conditioned response, resulting from personal development influenced by the family dynamic in which I was raised. I've been honest with myself about how I took over the responsibility of choosing to perpetuate this fear. I kept running into the same obstacles in my effort to gain mastery over this fear. I am now radically honest with myself and observant regarding the why of my thoughts and behaviors. I became aware that if I could overcome a major hardwired fear, it would give me the confidence to overcome a fear that had been learned. Humans are born with only two hardwired fears: falling and sudden loud sounds. All other fear responses are learned or conditioned. I'm not inherently afraid of heights. Turns out I'm very afraid of falling. Well, it's hardwired. I determined that the best way for me to face this intense fear was to take a very vulnerable and literal leap toward understanding. All right, 3, 2, 1, let's go! Woo! Facing and overcoming the most visceral and raw fear that human beings are hardwired to feel led to a few seconds of total clarity and understanding for me. This feeling cannot be artificially manufactured. It must be felt for real to have any sustainable educational quality. This is not adrenaline seeking. This is being ultimately vulnerable in order to become stronger. There's a big difference. The reward for facing and overcoming fear is the unlocking of unbreakable calm. The feeling of confidence I had when I took the leap immediately gave way to sheer terror as gravity welcomed my hasty descent toward the rocks below. As eons of evolutionary forces were shocked at my apparent disregard for them, the moment of silence my soul experienced was fascinating. All sensation ceased. There was no terror. There was no calm. There was no peace. For one glorious moment, I just was. Now, growth and inspiration take different forms for different people. Although I still have that one last private fear to overcome, I know I can overcome it. Something changed for me when I faced, felt, and overcame that major hardwired fear. The confident peace achievement was unlocked, and I think that now means that I feel totally safe. In fact, in its purest form, the feeling of fear is intended to keep us safe. This comes in the form of instincts passed down from our ancestors. Unfortunately, conditioned fear is also passed down from ancestors in the form of multi-generational emotional trauma. Add a splash of ADHD to that and voila! Just waking up in the morning can become a conditioned fear response. This fear is mostly taught to us by others in the form of negative reinforcement. We don't initially ask for this, but if we are still feeling fear, it is because we are choosing to feel that fear. That's kind of a harsh reality, but it's true. No one's coming to save you, but this is great news because that means you get to save yourself, and by so doing, you become the hero in your own life story. Now, I am not suggesting that you need to specifically jump off a rope swing in order to face your fears. You already likely know what you need to do to face your fears. If you've already faced it and overcome it, doesn't it feel great? I mean, ADHD, dopamine, that's awesome. Nothing better than overcoming your fear. If you haven't faced it yet, I believe in you. If I can do it, you can do it too. Now go and embrace your remaining fears and find that peace which feels just so good and natural. Your ADHD asset will then be able to shine in abundance.